With Christmas coming along, I thought I would make my favorite macarons, which are the Christmas tree macarons. I make them for friends and family. I make them for the gift boxes, or sometimes I take them to events over Christmas and people love them. And they're not that hard to do. I'll show you how I do it step by step. And for the decorations, which I will do more at the end of the video, we can decorate it in sprinkles. You can use these on the Christmas tree macarons. You can use all these different, you can use whatever you have. I've even got old Christmas tree stuff here. Oh, these are my favorite, the blings. They look really good on these macaron Christmas trees and these, but I'll add those at the end. Ingredients, you're going to need 115 grams of room temperature eggs, 115 grams of caster sugar. I've got the egg whites in here ready to go. This is 140 grams of almond flour and 140 grams of icing sugar, and I sift them all together. Now for the fillings, we've got molasses and ground ginger, which is going to be this is going to be awesome. The molasses really brings out the flavor of the ginger, and it will make your cream that we're going to put into the filling like very smooth, so that will be good. Butter over here, getting all soft, softening up. And the oven, I've got it sitting on 140. So I'm warming this up, it's all heated up, ready to go. And I have wires on the stones. Even if you're using a normal oven at home, it's 140 as well. It's the same for any oven you use. If I was using this oven, it would be 142. But I will turn the fan off if I was using these ovens. If your almond flour is a bit coarse and it's not very fine, you can put it through one of these, a blender. I usually do this, but I was lucky. The almond flour that I bought this week was pretty fine. So the sift was plenty enough. So I didn't need to put that in there. So that's ready to go. I'm going to get these egg whites going. Speed 2. And when they get frothy, I'll start adding the sugar. I'll put it on speed 3. And when they start getting a bit more frothy, almost there. See how now it's starting to get a few bubbles and I'm going to add a bit of sugar bit by bit. Just down the side of the mixer, not on the whisk, because then you'll throw it across the bowl. Just down the gap. This is why I like using the jar. It's so much easier to dip it in there. It's better than getting the spoon. I'm going to record the whole process because I feel like to understand how to do this, you really need to watch every part of what happens now. So I'm not going to skip anything. And we're going to mix this until stiff peaks once all the sugar's in. will increase the speed of the mixer. Now that's all in, it's completely, now that that's completely in, I'm going to put the speed up a bit. That's on speed 6. I'm going to mix it till stiff peaks. I'm going to use a mint green American color. This is really good. You don't want to use oil based in a macaron mix. You always want to use the gels or powder. I'm just going to put a few drops. That's about it. And you want a stiff piece. So let's check this. May seem stiff, but if you look, see it's curving. You want it to be straight up in the air, as stiff as you can get it without over mixing. So you want to catch it just as it's peaking. You can tell because it will start to build up into the whisk, and you get like a glossy look. It will get like, will start to shine, like a glossy shine. Bit longer, just, yeah, a bit more. Yeah, that's right, that's good now. Could probably go a bit longer. I just want them to be really stiff. If you're doing an Italian macaron, you wouldn't go as stiff as this. I used to do Italian all the time, but I prefer the French way. It's less steps, you don't have to heat the sugar. A little bit of a difference in taste between the Italian, which you heat the sugar to 118 degrees. And there we go. Yeah, that's sticking up now. Yep, it's good. See? All right. Now I'm going to add half the mixture into the bowl. This is, you can fold this without the mixer, but I like to, you don't want to over mix obviously. You can cheat this, the macaronage stage is what they call it, the macaronage. It's where you fold the egg white with You just get my so I'll just put that in there. Like so. And I'll add the rest. And we just tip that in. So I'll mix this on just 15 seconds. And I will scrape it down. Get underneath the bottom. Get the rest of the colour that's on the side of the bowl. That's why I didn't mind that I had a bit of colouring on the side. I knew I was going to get it a bit later. Like so. Just give this another quick just five seconds. Now I'm going to transfer it back to the bowl that I was using. Sift all the almond flour and the almond sugar into. Just to finish off the folding. You just want to fold it until it's coming off the spatula. So, and just throw that in there. Now for this, I want to get some of the air out, so I like to just spin it around. Now you see how that's not coming off the spatula at all. We're going to keep folding this until it starts to, you don't have to mix too much, you just want to go gentle. You really want to go gentle when you're doing macarons. I like to think of this like a washing machine. Whoosh, whoosh. And go for the middle sometimes. It's good to have a big bowl like this. You got more room to fold in. You always want to get behind too. See how it's starting to come off a bit more? Yeah, okay, cool, perfect. You see that? I had like a lava. It was just a little bit more. You don't want to go too much, otherwise they will spread too much. And if you don't do enough, they won't spread at all. And that's good. All right. So I've got a piping tube in my bag here. It's about 1 centimeter. And I'm just going to put the mix in. I like to put it in like this, so much easier. So. Now and that's ready to pipe. Now the macarons are going to be 4 layers. So you're going to have a little one at the top, and then a bit bigger, and then a bit bigger after that, and then the full size at the bottom. So what I usually do, I will use my trays, and I will use the full size for the top, the medium in the middle, a bit smaller, and then the dot for the top. So I'll show you what I do. So you, like so, this will spread. So for now, these will be the base, and then a bit smaller for the middle, for the first part of the middle. And then obviously for the top it would be a dot. And then you want to go in the middle of that and that, so about this. Like so. So that's all the 4 different layers. Let me just move this mixer. So same thing again. I'll go the full size. Well, I'm only going, I'm going to have to hit the trays to spread it out. So they're going to spread out a bit. So you need to account for the spread. So. So what I do is I come back to that. I'm going to knock the air out of them. Tap in the tray. So. Just knocking underneath, like so. I'm going to put these in the oven for 14 minutes. And I put those in for 14 minutes. Now I'm going to finish off these 2 trays while that's baking. And what I'm going to do is do the larger base, and then the medium, a bit more smaller, and the smallest on top. So that will be the base, the next layer. Now we're going to do, let's just do the top one, which is just going to be like so. It's just enough for the top, and then the second last row. So and it's so small it's hard to do the twist and pull off, but we can knock it out by hitting it at the end. That's it. I'm going to flatten these out too by hitting the bottom. You see how the little bits on the top that are flattening out. And I'll let them rest until the oven. On this mix, you don't need to rest them at all, but I've already got 2 trays going, and then when they come out, I'll put these ones in. So it's doing 12 minutes. I'm going to test the macarons to see if they're still wobbly. Those ones are a bit bigger, so they take a bit longer to bake. Top ones are fine. So we're going to pull these out. And these will give another minute. And then we'll put in another tray. I'm going to put these in for 14 minutes. These will probably be 12 minutes because they're a lot smaller. These top ones will definitely be about 14. And we'll bake them until they're stiff, until they don't wobble. And the middle ones, a bit less. So I'll put them in the middle of the oven where it's not so hot. So I'll come back in 12 minutes, check the bottom, and then the top ones in 14. About 12 minutes. The top ones are still wobbly. I can tell that they're moving. They're not set. They are. And that's set. So I'll pull these ones out before they crack. You'll notice the little ones are a little bit cracked, but it's okay. Put that there to cool down. And I'll keep these in there for another 2 minutes until they stop wobbling. They're stiff. Okay. Now, we'll let them cool down. So I have those there. And I have the other ones cooling down over here. And now I'm going to make the buttercream. Now the buttercream is going to have molasses, ginger ground, and the butter needs to be soft, which it is. And I'll show you how I make this buttercream. So we're going to add, I'll put the recipe on the screen like I always do, but 250 grams of butter will go straight in the bowl. Not oily, but soft to the touch, which it is. That will go in there. 1 tablespoon of the molasses, which is the key ingredient to this ginger buttercream, which is, it's fantastic. So put that in. So, 1/4 teaspoon of ginger ground on top, like so. I'm going to mix this until it's softened. And fluffy. And then I'm going to add icing sugar to the mix. So I want to keep mixing this until it's nice and fluffy. About 5 minutes. Just scrape it down, get it in the bottom. And about 375 grams of icing sugar through the sieve. And I'll add that to that after it's finished mixing. Alright, now that's nice and fluffy. And I'll drop this down to speed 1. And just adding this bit by bit now, the icing sugar. This will just give it a bit more sweetness and thicken it up. We're going to also add about 2 tablespoons of milk. I'll do that at the end. Now you just want to add the icing sugar on slow speed. You don't want to get air bubbles in the mix, so you don't need to go higher than this. Now we're at the end. I'm going to scrape down the bottom, make sure I've got the whole bottom. Let me just get my spatula off. Take this off. Just make sure I've got everything at the bottom. This is quite smooth actually. I don't think I need much milk. Just a little bit. The milk's only to soften it if it's a bit dry. Just a little bit of milk. I want it to be a bit more milk. I want it to be a bit more silky. And that's it. I'm gonna let that mix for like a minute, and then we can fill the macarons. So now we're in the exciting part. We're going to build up the macarons. So we're going to get the big. It's 4 layers. So I'm just gonna stack them up. So these will be 1 layer. So this was the bigger ones with these. Okay, so that's it. Yeah. So boom. That's the bottom, the next layer, and the top at the top. So I'm just going to pair all these up. That way when I ice them, it'll be a lot easier. So I've got them all laid out, all 4 layers. So if you get the idea, without the buttercream, it's going to look like that. And we're just going to buttercream each layer, then build them up. And I'm just going to use a small star tube, enough to just put it on the macaron. So what I do is I like to put it on the bottom of the previous one before putting it on the top one, so you make it easier. So like so. We do this for all the trees. Now I'm going to use these Christmas sprinkles. I tip them into a bowl, one that I can tip back in easy enough. And before it dries, just gonna, because the buttercream will get dry a bit, so it's best to do it like now. I'm going to do different sprinkles on the other ones, just to show you the different looks that we can do. This top's a little bit too big. It's a wonky tree, but it's okay. This is technically 2 macarons per, if you add it up, it's actually 2 macarons. So if someone eats this, it's like eating 2 macarons. So that's the rainbow color ones. And now I'm going to do a different color. Now this is a white one I like to use. But like I said, these are great for gifts, for gift boxes, taking them to Christmas events, because you could put them on a table and just have like a whole stand, and they look really, really good when they're on a, you know, like an event table or something. You can freeze them in the freezer for at least about 2 or 3 months. I wouldn't go more than a month, and they last up to a week in the fridge, preferably 5 days. And at room temperature, I wouldn't go more than a few hours. I've got a lot of buttercream here, which I'm going to be using for cupcakes. But if you want to make half this mixture, you can get away with it. And these are my bling ones. I really like these ones. Like so. Straighten it up a bit. I'm going to put icing sugar on the top, which is going to give it like a snow effect. And I have these little stars too. And for the last ones, I think I might go back to the rainbow colours. Cool. And for the stars, there's like the, at Wars, you can buy these like different sprinkles and stuff. But they've got gold stars in there. And I will use those. You just stick a bit of buttercream here for the glue. Take a bit, stick it on top. Like so. And now I'm going to put icing sugar on them. So now they're all built up, this is my favourite part, where we put the snow on. So just gently. This just finishes it off. That's it. I'll put these in the fridge so they harden up, and I'll put them in a box in about an hour or so. In the fridge, they've hardened up a bit so they're easier to move, and I'm just going to put them in a box. This is how I box them. And this is how I'd give them as a gift, or take them to a work event. See, lucky I put them in the fridge because I knocked them over. And when you eat macarons, you want to like pull them out of the fridge half an hour before you eat them too. So that's it. This is how I do my Christmas tree macarons. I've got other macarons that I make too, with Rudolph and stuff on them. So if anyone's interested in those, let me know in the comments, and I'll make a video on that just before Christmas as well. So now I'll just print some stickers. This is my macaron label. So I'm going to print 5.
ba 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 dum.